when your inner voice becomes your superpower. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Nateara Uzzell, whose groundbreaking work in trauma healing has not just transformed countless lives, it has fundamentally revolutionized how we understand the human journey toward wholeness. Nateara isn't just a practitioner, she's a visionary whose insights have created ripples of healing across communities where trauma has been normalized and suffering silenced for generations. Her approach to reclaiming our authentic voices after trauma isn't just powerful, it's revolutionary, especially for high achieving Black women who spent years, sometimes decades, living in perpetual survival mode. Have you ever noticed how relentlessly we're taught to silence the voices inside us? The anxious one that whispers, be careful. The angry one that shouts, this isn't fair. The wounded one that murmurs, I'm not enough. We're told these voices are the problem, that healing means making them disappear, that wellness is the absence of these uncomfortable parts of ourselves. But what if, and I want you to really sit with this for a moment, what if everything we've been taught about healing is completely backward? What if those voices aren't your enemies, but members of what therapist Colleen West brilliantly calls your inner crew? Parts of you that have been working overtime without breaks, without recognition, to keep you safe in a world that hasn't always been kind? And what if true healing isn't about silencing them, but finally learning to listen? This isn't just theory floating in academic circles. This is the revolution happening in trauma healing right now. And it's changing lives in ways that traditional approaches never could. For too long, we've approached healing like it's about erasing the past, about getting over it, about becoming someone new, someone better, someone who doesn't carry those uncomfortable emotions. But that approach leaves us fragmented, exhausted, constantly at war with ourselves. It's like trying to build a house while simultaneously demolishing its foundation. The truth, healing isn't about becoming someone else. It's about coming home to who you've always been beneath the armor you've had to wear. Let me share something profound that Natiara explained during our conversation, something that completely shifted my understanding of trauma response. She explained that when we experience trauma, whether it's childhood wounds, racial trauma, or professional betrayal, we develop survival tactics. We learn to over explain ourselves, to people please until we're empty, to stay silent when every cell in our body is screaming to speak up, to work twice as hard for half the recognition because that's what survival demanded. These aren't character flaws, they aren't signs of weakness. They are brilliant, sophisticated survival strategies that once kept you safe in environments that weren't designed for your thriving. But here's the painful truth that's also liberating: what protected you then is probably limiting you now. That constant need to justify your decisions, it might have kept you safe in a household where your voice wasn't valued. That perfectionism, it might have been your shield in spaces where the margin for error as a Black woman was non existent. That tendency to shrink yourself, it might have prevented conflict in relationships where your full self was too much for others to handle. These patterns served a purpose. They deserve your gratitude, not your judgment. But gratitude doesn't mean you need to keep living by their rules when they no longer serve your highest good. In my conversation with Natiara, she shared a powerful example that illustrates this beautifully. Colleen West, a licensed marriage and family therapist, specializing in internal family systems therapy, worked with Black professionals struggling with anxiety rooted in childhood trauma. These clients faced crippling imposter syndrome and had inner critics driving them toward constant, exhausting overachievement. Instead of trying to silence these critical voices, which is what most of us have been taught to do, West guided them to do something radical, have a conversation with them, to ask that inner critic, what are you afraid would happen if I stopped pushing myself so hard? The answers were revealing and heartbreaking. You'd be rejected. You'd be seen as lazy. You wouldn't survive in this world. These weren't irrational fears conjured from nowhere. For many Black professionals, these voices developed in response to very real experiences where excellence wasn't just an aspiration, it was a requirement for basic acceptance, sometimes for basic safety. But through this dialogue approach, this radical act of listening instead of silencing, something remarkable happened. Clients began trusting their instincts at work rather than defaulting to perfectionism. They started voicing needs in meetings without paralyzing fear. They reconnected with a sense of purpose beyond mere survival. They didn't silence their inner critics. They transformed their relationship with them. The voices didn't disappear, they evolved. They became allies instead of taskmasters. This is what real healing looks like, not a straight line from broken to fixed, but a spiral that sometimes brings you back to old places with new eyes, new understanding, new compassion. Another powerful example comes from a collective coaching program for first generation Black women entrepreneurs dealing with generational trauma while building businesses. These women carried inherited beliefs about worthiness, worked twice as hard, and struggled with setting boundaries without drowning in guilt. Many had grown up watching mothers and aunties endure hardships silently, which shaped their own leadership styles in ways they weren't even conscious of. Through group therapy and deep inner child work, they practiced speaking kindly and firmly to themselves while rewriting inherited scripts around success, worthiness, and what it means to take up space unapologetically. The results? Women reported stronger self trust, saying things like, I can say no without shame. They developed healthier relationships, both professionally and personally. They took risks aligned with their authentic values, not old fears passed down through generations. Their breakthrough moments include launching new ventures unapologetically and mentoring others openly about mental health struggles as part of their business storytelling. Their example inspired other entrepreneurs nationally through social media campaigns highlighting vulnerability as strength. This is what becomes possible when we stop fighting ourselves and start listening with compassion. When we recognize that the parts of us we've been trying to silence are actually carrying wisdom we need. But let's be honest with each other. This work isn't easy. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels like you're going backward before you move forward. It's like cleaning out a wound. It hurts more initially, but leads to true healing rather than infection festering beneath a hastily applied bandage. That's normal. Healing isn't linear. And contrary to what Instagram might tell you, it doesn't happen in 30 days or through a single breakthrough moment captured in perfect lighting. Real healing happens in those quiet decisions you make daily. When you pause before automatically saying yes to something that drains you, when you speak up in a meeting despite that voice saying stay small, when you allow yourself to rest without needing to earn it first. Consider Annie Grace, who shared her journey addressing how trauma led her to constantly seek validation. She felt compelled to explain herself online and offline due to deep seated fears that nobody would understand unless she justified every word. A common pattern among those surviving complex trauma through therapy focused on affirmations like, I see you and you're brave, plus community support online. Annie gradually shifted toward posting boldly with less explanation or apology attached. Her followers resonated deeply. Many responded sharing similar breakthroughs where they too stopped apologizing for existing loudly online and in life. Years spent shrinking herself professionally and personally gave way after repeated practice, trusting her gut, even when it felt risky publicly as a Black woman creator. Her viral posts sparked conversations across platforms about normalizing emotional honesty, inspiring thousands within the digital wellness space, especially among marginalized voices seeking permission simply to be. This is what Nateara Uzzell's transformative work has shown us. Healing isn't just about feeling better, it's about reclaiming your voice, your truth, your right to take up space without explanation or apology. And perhaps most importantly, it's about holding multiple truths at once. You can be angry about what happened to you and grateful for who it helped you become. You can acknowledge how far you've come and honor how far you still want to go. You can love the people who hurt you and set boundaries that protect your peace. This ability to hold complexity, to feel many things at once without needing to choose, is actually a sign of post traumatic growth. It's evidence not of weakness, but of profound emotional intelligence. So, what does this mean for you right now, today? It means you can stop trying to silence those voices inside you. Instead, get curious about them. What are they trying to tell you? What are they afraid of? What do they need to feel safe in this moment? It means you can start noticing those survival patterns, the over explaining, the people pleasing, the perfectionism, with compassion instead of criticism. These weren't flaws, they were adaptive responses to environments that weren't safe for your full self. It means you can begin the practice of pausing before you respond to demands on your time and energy. In that pause, ask yourself, what does my true voice want right now? Not what you should want, not what would make others comfortable. What do you want? Today, I challenge you to do something revolutionary. Identify one old survival habit that keeps showing up in your life. Maybe it's over explaining yourself. Maybe it's saying yes when every fiber of your being wants to say no. Notice when it appears and practice pausing before responding. Ask yourself what your true voice wants in that moment. Then choose one small action that honors your authentic needs instead. This isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's reclaiming parts of yourself that have been silenced for too long. As Nateara Uzzell's profound work reminds us, your healing journey isn't just about you. When you learn to trust your voice again, you create permission for others to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your boundaries become a blueprint for others still finding their way. The world doesn't need more people, especially women, especially Black women, sacrificing themselves at the altar of other people's expectations. The world needs people who have made peace with all their parts, people who have transformed their wounds into wisdom, people who have learned that softness isn't weakness, it's a revolutionary act of self reclamation. Your inner voice isn't just worth listening to, it's your superpower. It's the compass that will guide you from merely surviving to truly thriving. And that journey From silence to self trust, from people pleasing to peace, from trauma to transformation, isn't just healing, it's coming home to yourself. And home is where the revolution begins.